So I recently received an email from my dear friend Mike Cohn, and I thought I would elaborate on this email because I always love and appreciate when I get emails from Mike. So here we go. He says, I'm out there on social media and I see all the same posts you do about the sanctity of the Scrum rules, and I get it. There are many rules of Scrum that teams break when they shouldn't. But I don't think it does anyone any good to be so hung up on rules that you throw practicality out the window. Now that's an interesting thought because one of the things that I'm known for is adhering to rules or following rules. But at the same time, I don't follow rules at the detriment of the team or detriment of the organization. So he goes on to say, but teams that have been doing Scrum together for a while sometimes need to bend a few Scrum rules to fit their specific circumstances and situation. And in most cases, no one needs to start calling foul if they do. Facts. I've been in so many organizations where the second something goes against what the holy grail, the book of Scrum says, that you get this mentality, this mind shift that we're broken, we're broken form. There's no way we'll ever recover. What should we ever do? And you don't want to ever be in that position. So let's talk about some of the common rules that most teams can safely bend a little bit or break and still be okay. Coming in at number 1, never extending a sprint is a great rule. Can it be broken? Well, yes, not often, and always for a good reason, such as a holiday that makes a longer sprint sensible. So if you have a sprint that ends on Christmas Day, you're probably not going to have a sprint planning meeting. Just saying, it's not going to happen. What I'm trying to say is, if there's some logic to it, you can adjust the sprint length because that makes sense, right? And I think a lot of what you're going to hear from Mike in this particular letter is going to be using common sense approach. How about this one? It's ideal to have a dedicated Scrum Master. It's the best way to build high-performing teams. But having a dedicated Scrum Master is also an economic decision in small companies, and it may not always be able to be justified, especially once the team can take on a lot of that responsibility for itself. So what you're starting to see is a little bit of a shift, and I talked about this in a previous episode, where there was a Scrum Master that rotated through. It's not my favorite, but it does work if you have a high-performing team. So it's one of these things where you have to really understand where you're coming from and what you're trying to achieve in order to talk about whether or not that makes sense. Okay? How about this one? Having a retrospective every sprint is a wonderful way to put improvement front and center. But if a team is running 1 week or 2 week sprints and things are going well, I think it's okay for them to only do a retrospective every other sprint. That's a good way to look at it too. And I think when it comes to retrospectives, once again, you have to do what makes sense. But even if it's what I call a micro retrospective, just to make sure everyone's on the same page, you don't have to go through the formality of the sailboat game, or you don't have to do all that stuff. If you're just getting together and having a discussion to help coagulate everyone on the team and get them on the same page, to get some cohesion, I think that's a good thing, right? So knowing when to follow the rules and when to break them is one of the keys that helps teams succeed. Teams that are new to Scrum should really do Scrum by the book or with the help of a coach. But if you're trying to take an advanced team or a team that's high performing and trying to give them some solid guidance, sometimes the better guidance comes from looking at where they are, what they've accomplished, and helping them understand which solutions are going to be best for them to figure out how they can better work together. So that's the key. So it's adaptive. Go figure, just like everything else in Agile. That's going to do it for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have a topic you want us to discuss, learn more at agiledad.com. We'd love to hear from you. And as always, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Until next time, do take care. Bye now.